Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Mortier, Business Development for DentalFix Franchise Opportunity. And DentalFix is a fast-growing mobile dental equipment repair service franchise and has landed on Franchise Times Magazine's 2015 Top 200 list of top revenue-producing U.S.-based franchises. I'm going to talk to Scott about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822. Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years we've been asking the Franchipreneurs of one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Mortier, Business Development for Dental Fix franchise opportunity. And Dental Fix is a fast-growing mobile dental equipment repair service franchise and has landed on the Franchise Time Magazine's 2015 Top 200 list of top revenue-producing U.S.-based franchises. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good, Marty. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Scott. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from this morning?
I am calling from Northwest Ohio. I'm visiting family for Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you're not that far away then, Scott. I thought you were going to say Florida, which I think is where's your headquarters located, Scott?
Yeah, we're based in the Fort Lauderdale area, so the weather's a little bit different here today.
I imagine. It takes a bit of getting used to, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
That's fantastic. I thought maybe we could start off with your role, Scott, and when did you join Dental Fix?
Sure, Marty. I joined Dental Fix in November of 2012. I oversee franchise development for the company. It's a role I've had since I came on board back then, from everything from lead generation to managing broker relationships to putting together territory maps and contracts and, anything that pertains to franchise growth.
That's fantastic. We've been doing this show. It's almost 9 years to date, Scott. And I have to say, I think this is the first time we've had your category on the show. So I was really excited to have you on the show today. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about Dental Fix and what services you provide.
Sure, yeah, no doubt about it. We're definitely a niche industry. When our CEO and founder, David Lopez, who I've done business with for a long time, first came to talk to me about the Dental Fix opportunity and how he was putting the business plan together. To be quite candid, I never knew dental equipment service and repair was an industry, and I certainly didn't know it could be franchised.
Right.
But
absolutely,
the average dentist in North America spends about $6,000 a year servicing and repairing their existing dental equipment. Prior to the launch of Dental Fix, that was typically done by multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies such as Henry Schein and Patterson, which are really in kind of the medical sales and medical supply sales business. They've kind of offered service and repair always because they've had to. If you sell somebody a dental chair, you better have a means to fix it for them.
Sure.
But when David put the business model together, there was a real hole in the market. It was perfect for franchising. We could sell protected territories, allowed franchise owners to directly market their services to dentists. We service and repair dental equipment on site, which makes us unique. So for the dentist, we're basically one-stop shopping, and we can make the repair right then and there when they're at their office. We don't have to come back or order a part necessarily. So it's a great solution for them. In fact, in the 5 years we've been doing this, we've gone from 0 to 15,000 dental customers across the United States. So very rapid growth.
It's incredible. Does it seem like, I guess, in the industry, Scott, are more dentists getting their equipment fixed today as opposed to getting new equipment? It would make sense, or, economically, it would make sense to have it fixed as opposed to getting a brand new piece of equipment.
Yeah, at the core of it, dentists are business people. When forced with the decision, $1,400 to fix something or, $14,000 to buy new, they're always going to opt to fix it. And because our franchise owners, live in or very near their territory, they're able to guarantee their labor or warranty their labor if they're to make a repair and something goes wrong the next day. They're really not out of pocket, our franchise owners, and that affords the dentist, a lot of comfort when it comes to running his or her own business. Because we're local, we can be there in 45 minutes. We don't have technicians that are spread out across the country, and it can take 48 to 72 hours to get there.
It's nice that this is a mobile business too, isn't it, Scott? That you don't have to worry so much about all of that, I guess, overhead with rent and things like that.
Yeah, I've been in franchising about 20 years. I've owned restaurant franchises, brick and mortar locations, and there's something nice about not having to personally guarantee $500,000 in rent when you open up a business. That's for sure.
Absolutely. My favorite magazine, Scott, of course, is Franchise Times magazine, and I saw you guys made the list of the 2015 top 200 list of top revenue-producing U.S.-based franchises. I mean, how'd that make you feel? I mean, that's a pretty big, that's a nice accolade, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's fantastic. You know, for us being, as I said earlier, such a niche segment, you know, we're basically, from a franchising perspective, we're without competition. There are other franchise models that center around servicing particular pieces of equipment in a dental office, but they don't comprehensively repair every piece of equipment, and specifically do not do it on site. And for us to, you know, basically be franchising a little over 5 years, and really over the last 3 years, we've kind of, you know, made a real concerted effort to franchise. We kind of grew organically the first couple of years. It's just spectacular. It was quite an accomplishment, and we were very proud of it.
It's nice for your franchisees to not have that, you know, that saturated competition. You know, we've had a lot of industries on our show over the years, you know, whether it be like, not to pick on certain industries, but like pizza franchise. You know, it seems like there's, here in Pennsylvania, there's like pizza every other block, it seems like. You know what I mean? You wonder how many pizza places can go up. So to not have that intense competition is really nice. The industry was quite impressive too, Scott. I mean, this is not a small industry, is it? And it seems like there's a lot of growth going on in this industry as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's currently, and this is staggering to think about it, but there's one dental office for every 1,500 people in North America.
Yeah.
I mean, when you stop and think about it, it's incredible. And there are some markets across the country, you know, Dallas, Texas, for example, where there's one per every 600 people. So dentistry is growing at an alarming rate. It's really, the business opportunity behind it has really grown, as you've seen the emergence of, you know, Aspen Dentals and, you know, big companies, corporate dental practices like that. It's, you know, dentistry for the first time is being run like a business, and for these dentists to have an option to save money, to have it more efficient. At the end of the day, you know, on an average dental practice, a dental chair will bring in about, you know, $1,500 an hour. And for that chair to go vacant because a piece of equipment is broken, you know, it destroys the business for that day. So, you know, that's the real value to these practices.
It was interesting because last time I was having a root canal like 6 months ago, and I was talking to my dentist, and you know, he was concerned about the business end of what he's doing. You know, he's not concerned about, you know, his practice. I mean, he's good at what he does, but he was concerned about all those other things, you know, and he learned that I recently got my doctorate degree, so he was kind of like plugging my, you know, trying to get as much information out of me as he can as far as saving costs and things like that. And, you know, when I was reading about you, I said, wow, I said, you know, you guys get it. You know, you're in the right place at the right time. So I really thought it was fantastic. It seems like there's some national expansion going on with your organization too. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. Like, how big is the company today, Scott? How many franchisees do you have in the system?
Sure. So we just recently sold our 226th franchise.
Wow, that's great.
To a gentleman in Dayton, Ohio. Oh, thank you very much. And to a gentleman in Dayton, Ohio. We've you know, we're in Hawaii, getting ready to launch. We just sold Puerto Rico, and we're in Canada, and then specifically in the United States. We are in 41 states currently, so we have quite a bit of growth going on. And for us, you know, there's really, at the end of the day, because we give this protected territory, there's only about 500 to 600 franchise opportunities for us in the United States. So in 5 quick years, we're almost halfway there. It's just been tremendous.
Wow, that's fantastic. Maybe we could talk a little bit about, you know, what do you look for as far as like traits go in your franchisees, Scott? I mean, who are your ideal franchisees?
Sure. At the end of the day, this business is about establishing relationships with highly educated professionals, meaning dentists. So we really look for folks with strong customer service, sales, marketing backgrounds. Those are the people that are used to communicating. You know, you need someone who is able to sell themselves, because at the end of the day, they don't have to sell the service. Every dentist in this country is having someone service and repair their dental equipment currently, in the absence of a dental fix. So as a franchisor, we do a lot of the marketing and you know, the direct marketing to these dentists and kind of get their foot in the door, but they need to be able to sell themselves. Our training is so comprehensive. We can literally train anybody to service and repair dental equipment.
So are the franchisees, they're not actually are they getting involved in the fixing of the dental equipment, Scott, or is it more like the franchisee is running the business from a sales and marketing aspect? I mean, how does that work?
No, the franchise owner is doing everything. We're a very owner-operator-driven business.
Wow.
And that really means something to the dentist. They need to know that they have one person they can go to. Typically with our competitors, one of 10 different techs could show up on any given day. And they don't really spend a lot of time, establishing that relationship with the dentist.
That's great. I mean, and this is something you can teach. It's something that's teachable, isn't it? It sounds like and transferable, really, all across the United States and perhaps maybe even the world someday, I suspect.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, we're in Canada. We're going to Puerto Rico. We're working on a deal currently in Mexico. In fact, we were in Mexico City last year kind of evaluating the marketplace and found that dentists in Mexico are having the same challenges the dentists are in, the United States and Canada.
That's fantastic. Maybe we could talk a little bit about some of your all-star franchisees, Scott. I mean, what were they doing, prior to becoming franchisees with your organization?
Really all over the board. We have guys that come from, pharmaceutical sales backgrounds. One of our rock stars in Salt Lake City, Utah, Phil May. Phil's a former CFO. In 6 short months, he's taken on a second territory and launched a second van. Real strong business sense and, again, interpersonal skills. We have guys, accounting backgrounds, IT backgrounds, all over the board.
That's fantastic. And that says a lot, too. I mean, when you have someone like a CFO, becoming part of the organization, I mean, this is someone who, looks at the numbers and they realize, they probably look at the industry, they look at the growth, and they say, like myself, when I looked at the business model, I said, wow, this really makes sense. I didn't get it, when I first heard about it. I said, wow, this is really interesting. So I started exploring, your company, and I said, wow, this makes so much sense. So I really thought it was fantastic. I also read that the corporate office handles a lot of the back office support for the franchisees. So your franchisees can focus on servicing your customers, which is very important. And so, I mean, it sounds like you have, currently you have this real strong system in place. Maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, because there are only a finite number of hours in the day to service and repair dental equipment. We really needed and knew really early on we needed to free up our franchise owners from the daily grind of owning and running a business to let them actually be out in the field charging that hourly rate fixing equipment. So as the franchisor, instead of going into a dental office and diagnosing an issue with, let's say, an X-ray machine and then having to order a part and spending a half hour on hold trying to order that part, all of that's centralized through our corporate headquarters, through our proprietary software, or it's a simple keystroke and that part is ordered. Instead of, dealing with trying to, quote-unquote, cold call and walk into an office and try to get to the decision maker, which can be daunting and frustrating at times. As the franchisor, every month on our franchise owner's behalf, we're calling, emailing, direct mailing, and faxing every dental office in their territory trying to solicit business. The nature of those marketing efforts shift the longer a territory is open, but in the first 6 months, the nature of those calls is to set up what we call meet and greet appointments. Where actually the franchise owner has set time aside to go in and meet with the office manager and or the dentist to work on establishing that relationship. As the franchisor, we're basically the back of the house. In a perfect world, we want our franchise owners out there doing nothing but servicing and repairing dental equipment and invoicing.
That's fantastic. What is a typical day like? If there is such a thing, Scott? I mean, I imagine every day must be, there must be some similarities, of course, but, I guess the days are also different as well, aren't they?
Yeah, depending on your schedule. And as the franchisor, all of the calls to schedule appointments to come into an office and make a repair come through us in our operations support center down in Fort Lauderdale. So we're tied into the software. So we're actually booking their appointments. We do a good job scheduling them to avoid a lot of windshield time, again, because there are only a finite number of hours in the day to do this. We don't want them spending 2 hours driving between appointments. So we work with them on that. A typical day, you'll make anywhere between 3 to 6 repairs. depending on that day, and a handful of marketing calls. It's a pretty consistent across the board.
It's nice because, as I imagine, there's that repeat sale element as well. Once you have that client, once you've got your foot in the door and you've performed your service, it's so much easier coming back the second time, isn't it?
Yeah, and we have dentists that use some of our franchise owners once a week.
Wow.
Dental equipment. The beauty of dental equipment is it's really designed to break. And
of course, right.
At any given time, something is broken in the dental office and needs repair. So that's really part of our sales training that we work with our franchise owners is how to get to that decision maker and how to increase their frequency of visits. It's
amazing too, the technology today in the typical dental office, Scott. It's you look at that equipment, when I go in there and I say, my God, this is very expensive equipment, So the service that you guys are performing really helps in your client's bottom line, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, that chair has a value to any given dental office, and when that chair is down, that office isn't making money.
Probably a lot of our listeners right now are saying, wow, this sounds like a really great, interesting opportunity. What's the typical investment range for launching a Dental Fix franchise, Scott?
Currently our average initial investment is $125,000, and that includes a $30,000 franchise fee, a $15,000 training fee. Again, because our training is so extensive, we're basically teaching you a trade. There's a great deal of cost and expense that goes into training our folks.
Sure.
The cost of the van is approximately $38,000. Then to upfit that van, inventory, parts, equipment, computer system, all the good stuff that goes into making it an operational dental fix is an additional $40,000. And then travel, hotel, airfare, all of that while they're in training kind of makes up the rest of the investment. But we have a couple of financing sources in place. Mercedes-Benz Financial, who manufactures the Sprinter vans that we use, they'll finance roughly $67,500 of that $125,000 investment. We also have an excellent SBA program in place where they will actually finance the entire initial investment plus $25,000 in working capital.
That's great. Your vans are nice billboards too, aren't they? I saw them on the website. I said it's a great promotional tool, aren't they?
When we open in a new market, it never fails that I get a phone call about the franchise, that week. Yeah, absolutely. It's the best advertising we can do.
Absolutely. There's something that really stood out about, in doing 450 of these interviews, Scott, something that stood out about your model is you offer a franchise guarantee. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because this is such a niche industry, and because we offer so much support and we're so involved in the operation of a business, we thought very early on, and I have to give all the credit in the world to my boss, our CEO, David Lopez, that we needed to kind of put our money where our mouth is. There are a lot of franchise concepts out there that, focus on development and only development and don't really take a real interest in the success after they've sold the franchise. So we came up with this guarantee where, for some reason, in your first year of business, you don't get a minimum of 40 customers, which is our minimum standard of performance.
Right.
We will fully refund the $30,000 franchise fee.
That's fantastic. And it's because it's going to work. Offering a guarantee is because you're sure that, this is going to work for them. So I thought that was really, very powerful on your part, is that you believe in the system, don't you?
Yeah. We put so much time, energy, capital, human capital into growing and perfecting our business model. We felt it was important for us to stand behind that.
That's fantastic. What's the best way for our listeners, Scott, to get more information on becoming a franchisee? Do you prefer that they go to a website? Any numbers that you want to plug?
Yeah, they can visit our website, which is www.dentalfixrx.com /franchise. There are a number of excellent videos on there to learn more about the opportunity. Or they can contact me directly at area code 773-255-4095.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you for coming on the show, Scott. I think this is a wonderful and interesting opportunity. I'm really glad I had you on the show today. So I'd really like to invite you back next year as you guys continue to grow. I think this is an amazing concept.
Thank you, Marty. Yeah, absolutely, anytime. I really enjoyed it.
It's been my pleasure, Scott. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now all years, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from franchise consultant and a previous franchisee, Tom Scarda. And Tom has he actually has a bunch of wonderful quotes, but he mentions to buy based on what's good for you and not what's good for the neighborhood. I mean, how often have so many of us, we're driving and you say, God, that would be a great place for Papa John's or a Subway. And, that's not really a good reason to get into franchising, where I suspect some people do. So listen to what Tom has to say as far as his advice to prospective franchisees. I thought he did a great job. Here we go.
I think it's real interesting, Tom, in what you're doing now, and you went through the whole process yourself, so I guess it's why you're having success now with FranChoice, because you saw it, worked for yourself. Even though, the failure was not an option, I mean, you must have had, just starting up a new business. It was your first time owning a business when you start up the Maui Wowie, right?
That's correct, yes.
So what was going through your, thought process then? I guess you were just... You had some peace of mind knowing you were working with a specialist in franchising, which gave you some confidence, and starting up a business maybe wasn't as nervous to you because of that. That was the whole mindset going in, Tom?
Yeah, and it's a coincidence. I don't know if one of your former interviewees, Carol Mercurio, who I think was actually my consultant back in 2000.
Oh, wow.
She's great.
Yeah, she's very, very cool. So she helped me out greatly in this process. And said, really, really set me up to have my mindset in the right frame of mind, I guess. And we, dove into the investigation process, but also the franchise company was very helpful. They were very forthcoming with their information, really told us what it was going to be all about, and said to us, this is not signing a franchise agreement and then becoming a millionaire. This, like a lot of people join a gym, they think just by signing the gym agreement they're going to lose weight. You got to go to the gym. You got to work.
Right.
You got to. She's very good in getting that information across to you. She probably taught you a few new things about yourself you didn't know because of her analysis and depth that your company goes into when you're speaking to a prospect, right?
Exactly. It was a soul-searching experience. I use that phrase every day. I experienced it myself, and now I take my candidates through that same soul-searching experience where, a lot of people say, well, I love donuts. Let me open up a donut franchise. That's just a silly thing to do. That's not a good business decision. Or somebody will say, there is no whatever in my neighborhood, so I think I should open one. And you should be buying a franchise based on what's good for you, not for the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, so maybe talk about, Tom, what types of characteristics you think make a good franchisee. I mean, you go through that whole process. You probably know pretty quickly whether someone's a pretty good match or not. But what are some of the top characteristics that make people successful?
Well, there are two very delineating points. Either you're an extrovert or an introvert. And just because you're an introvert doesn't mean that you're not a good franchisee. It just means that you may not want to be the kind of guy who's out drumming up your own business, and you might want something where it's more back office for you. So first we kind of figure that out. But you have to have a lot of self-confidence. You have to be able to know that you can be a success. And people don't realize, even if they're 30, 40, 50 years old in a corporate job, they're successful to where they're at. Right. And then they have to open up their comfort zone and get to the next level. A lot of people are afraid of that, so you have to be a little bit fearless, be willing to take a leap of faith, and know that you can do it, because you'll never find a concept that you're 100% in love with. There's always a little something missing. And I kind of use the analogy of when you're buying a house. You might find the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood, but there's probably something wrong. It might not have the right windows that you want or whatever, and you have to learn to live with it, get into it, and then fix it and work with it.
Right.
So you have to do that. But as far as characteristics go, it's really the yearning and the want to really make a change for your future. And not everybody's cut out to be a franchisee or a business owner. And, we do need great people running, great civil service systems or what have you. But, for me personally, I could just speak from personal experience. I was successful in transit. I moved very quickly up the line, but then realized that, when I looked at the vice president and the president of transit, they weren't living in the houses I wanted to live in or driving the cars I wanted to drive, but business owners were. So if you got that drive, you can do it. And, of course, that's not for everybody. People are sometimes fine with a very simple lifestyle, and that's great. But I think you need to have the drive, and more than that, you need to have the vision, and you need to be a goal setter. You need to know what your goals are.
That's a good point, knowing what the goal is. Because that's all I was just